All right. Good afternoon and good evening and good morning somewhere out there in the world. This is Real Talk with E.V.E. Bienvenidos. Welcome. Of course, you guys know we do the Lunch and Learns on Wednesdays at 12:30 and Saturdays at 12:30 as well. And so we want to talk about the holidays today. I hope that you've had a wonderful Christmas and going into a better new year. And today I have a special guest. He is, some of you may have seen him on another show. And in case you have not, you'll get to see him on this one. He is a Lake County, Indiana probation officer, and that's Juan M. Andrade. He's my buddy, my ride or die. He's my what do you call it? He's my crime. What do you call that?
Co-host?
So he's he's in the studio here next to me, and of course, he is my co-host as well on Nuestra Comunidad NWI on WLTH Radio, and of course, we've been going strong on that show. But I wanted to talk about solutions, and of course, because it's the holiday season, people tend to drink a little more than what they really need to, And so he is a Lake County, Indiana probation officer. And I hope my sound is coming through clear because I kind of hear an echo. And we're just trying out a different way. He's in the studio, but he's on a different screen. So I want to welcome my sidekick over here on Nuestra Comunidad, my friend, mi amigo, mi hermano, Juan M. Andrade. Hola, Juan. How you doing, Juanito?
Yeah, good afternoon, Eve.
Good afternoon. It's a beautiful day. So how was your Christmas?
Excellent. No problems. Great Christmas.
Was Santa good to you?
Santa was good to me.
Santa was good to you. So anyway, I am going to toast to you guys on a New Year's. And of course, this is non-alcoholic. It kind of made me giggle. And so I was being asked what's in my drink. And I said, I drank the Kool-Aid. Because it's like Kool-Aid, right? But it is not. And I just want to let you guys know, you're going to see me sipping it through. I want to make sure I get my fluids intake, and it's electrolytes beverage. Okay. So anyway, let's not drink and drive. And that's one reason why I brought Juan to talk about what he does, how long he's been in the probation department. And he's going to give you guys some pointers to not drink and drive and or get high and drink and drive. Imagine that. There's some states where marijuana is actually legal, so you can be high and drive. I don't think that's safe either. But anyway, welcome once again, Juanito, to Real Talk with E.V.E. This is your first time on this show, and I want to thank you for making time for you to be here on this show. So tell us a little bit about you, Juanito. Who is Juan M. Andrade?
Well, lifelong resident of East Chicago, Indiana, and as you said, a probation officer for 31 years, more so in the past than now. Active with many non-for-profits throughout the years that dealt with different subject matter. Very interested and talk a lot about politics more on the national level than at any other level, especially with all the things that are going on a national scale as opposed to on a non-national scale. So church going. And very proud of my nephews and nieces and my brother and my sister-in-law. That's it for now.
Well, that's sounds like a full type of good life and enjoying family, and most of all, enjoying what you do. So how long did you say you've been a Lake County, Indiana probation officer?
Well, I started in 91, so this is my 31st year, going into my 32nd year in 2023.
Wow. So that's a long time. Would you say that you enjoy what you do?
I enjoy and I love what I do.
Wonderful. So let me ask you, in the years of you being on probation, what has been the worst and the best experience you've had with your probationers, your customers, as you call them?
I don't know about, well, let me put it this way. My worst experience, and not so much an experience, but time. And what I'm going to say now is something I said at a probation officers conference by Zoom not too long ago. Uh, it didn't have anything to do with my probationers. My worst experience, unfortunately, during the time that I've been a probation officer, has been a former chief of mine. Not the best experience, um, without naming that person's name, but that was my worst time when this person was the chief in our probation department. My best, I think, is more. Well, my best times, of course, is when we get someone that's on probation. And people are human. People do make mistakes. They come, they were arrested for the first time, they went through the system for the first time, and that's it. We don't
Mm.
see them anymore. That may be a good thing and that may be a bad thing because sometimes we may not see them again in our court, but they may be in other courts. So the worst of times, a former uh, uh, chief supervisor, and the best of times, in a sense, when we help someone complete their probation satisfactorily and we don't see them anymore. That would be the best of
Well, that's
times.
always good, but does it always happen?
It doesn't always happen, but it does happen.
So that was your worst. What's your best is them completing your
Probation, and we don't see them
probation,
anymore.
and you don't see them anymore. So what kind of probationers do you get?
We are one of four courts in Lake County, Indiana, that deal with the same type of cases. Cases that go through our court are traffic related, meaning driving while suspended, meaning reckless driving, meaning operating a vehicle while intoxicated, meaning operating driving under the influence of what could be when you abuse your medications or when you are driving under the influence of some kind of a narcotic drug, for example. Um, and a lot of other cases that we deal with have to do with traffic, have to do with guns, have to do with drugs, have to do with domestic violence, have to do with auto theft and so forth. So we handle a lot of cases, some felony cases. A lot of cases that come through our court are misdemeanors.
What is a misdemeanor for those of you that don't know, Juan?
A misdemeanor is well, actually, you have a felony and a misdemeanor. A misdemeanor is a lesser crime in terms of how can I say this? In terms of penalties, in terms of having a record. If a lot of people will have a once you get convicted of a criminal offense, whether it's a misdemeanor or a felony, you have a criminal record. Felonies are more serious offenses as opposed to misdemeanors. Put it that way. And the penalties are greater if you get convicted of a felony as opposed to being convicted of a misdemeanor.
Okay. So okay, I'm hearing an echo. I hope you guys
Mhm.
can hear us well because we are using two devices in the same place. Um, so this is the first time I'm doing it like this. So hope the sound comes out through clear and you actually get something out of this show. You know, it's all about solutions, and so we talk about the problem, but what solutions do we have? So I said, well, let's bring my friend, mi amigo, mi hermano, to talk about being not only a probation officer, but the things that he has experienced, he has seen with returning customers, as he calls them. So how often would you see someone returning back, and why?
How often?
Yeah, how many times do they come
Uh,
back, as you call them, recurring
well,
customers?
throughout the years that I've been there, there have been some people there that have been in and out of the system almost as long as I've been there, unfortunately.
Wow.
I was just looking at my phone yesterday because title for one of the articles, I guess, on let's say Gmail, for example,
Mhm,
it
mhm.
said there were three stories about three people that got arrested while driving, operating while intoxicated. And as I'm scrolling up and talking to my one of my nieces about it, I said, I see the name, and then I'm saying to myself, you know what, this person might be on probation with me already. So I'll have to
Uh-oh.
check when actually I could check it when I go home and check the laptop or when I go to work. But this person's name, when I seen it, that just got arrested for an OWI, not in this county, being Lake County, Indiana, I said, this person might be on probation with me already.
Wow. So, um, you know, I was asking you off the air earlier about, do you know when is worse when you get more probationers in the system? Is it during the holidays? Is it Christmas time? Is there, or does it vary, or if at all, and throughout the year?
There may be spikes throughout the year in terms of people operating while intoxicated as a result of alcohol. For example, on New Year's Eve, which a lot of people do go out and celebrate, and that celebration involves alcohol. There's also the 4th of July period when people go out to have their picnics and they uh, drink alcohol
A
and
little
then
too
get in their
much?
vehicles. And then there's also Labor Day. So there may be spikes in those situations when people may be at some point overdoing it and getting stopped, getting arrested, and going to jail.
So when someone comes in, walk us through the process, Juanito, when someone actually has gone to your court and assigns them because of a OWI or DWI, DUI, or dealing with drugs. What's the process once the judge sets their sentencing or puts them on probation and they come to you?
So as probation officers, um, once the person goes through the initial process and they go to court, just like you said, if they were ordered by the court to be placed on probation or some kind of supervision, then once they are done being before the judge and some kind of agreement is made out and signed by everyone that needs to be signed, and it doesn't become official until the judge signs it, then they will come out of the courtroom. And then if they are there in person, because we also still have people uh, in court by way of Zoom. So if, for those, for example, that are there in person, they get some kind of supervision, we will do their intake right away. Um, so by what I mean by intake is that there are certain forms that need to be filled out that are already in a computer system. So we uh, put all their information in the system. We including their personal information, including what was ordered by the court and so forth. Once we put everything in the system, we print it out, we go over all the conditions with them,
Mhm.
and then we explain, like I said, go with them. We explain everything to them. We tell them that what they can and can't do based upon their conditions of probation, and that we are there for them. If they have any questions or any problems after we get done explaining everything to them, they are supposed to let us know so that if they have any problems to get in contact with us so we can help them get through any things that they may not understand or whatever the case may be to get in contact with us, and we will uh, help them as much as we can. Generally speaking, before COVID, people that were placed on formal probation, meaning they would have to come in and into our office and see us once a month. We
Mhm.
don't do that since COVID. We do this by phone now. So uh, either as an officer, either call them once a month, or they in turn will call us once a month, at least through our court, and that's how they check in as opposed to coming
So
in person.
because they're not coming in person, even though I think it makes it easier for
Mhm,
them to say, well, I didn't have a ride, right? Especially if they don't have a
mhm.
transportation. But what happens if they don't comply or they're not able to be reached because they don't have a cell phone? Or what do you do then?
Okay, so if they don't come to,
If they don't show up to their 30-day, that they got to meet with you over
oh,
the phone, Zoom, what have you. What happens if
okay,
they if
okay,
you can't
because we're
reach
doing this
them
by
or
phone now and not in person. Um, of course, we tell them, or I'll tell them, make sure your voicemail is working. Make sure your voicemail is not full. Make
Mhm,
sure it
mhm.
is set up, because in some cases they have nothing. They have a phone, but their voicemail box is not set up. Period. So that way, if we call them and they don't answer, that is fine. So we can leave a message.
What if they don't have a phone?
Okay, in most cases,
Then
most
what?
everyone has a phone,
What
and
if
if
they
not,
don't though?
then if not, then they may give us the phone number of their boyfriend or their girlfriend or mommy or daddy or something to that effect, and then that's the phone that we use. We also ask them for their email so that if we can't communicate with them by way of telephone, then
Mhm,
we'll call them by way of I
mhm.
mean, we're not calling, we'll email them.
Have you had a probationer where they have no phone and no email? Because there are still some people out there that are not tech savvy
Mhm.
and or can't afford to have a phone. So what do you do then?
Not so much that I can think of right now,
Hmm.
but they will have to hopefully let us know ahead of time, and then we'll have to figure something out.
Okay. So what has been the worst from your customers or your probationers
Probationers,
that you have seen coming through? And what are the ages, the majority of what age group do you usually see
18 and
coming?
up in our court, more or less.
Right. But I'm going to ask again, what age do you predominantly see that is more frequent coming to getting on probation, getting in the system? Are they middle age? Are they more the 20-year-olds? Which ones are the most you see, if you can recall that,
More the older
have
group
been on
than the younger
probation?
group. More the
Okay,
older group because
that's a good thing.
in a lot of cases, a lot of people that keep coming through the system are the ones that have been through the system for some time throughout the years. And so we are probation officers. We are not miracle workers. We cannot supervise anyone under our supervision 24/7. And probation is not meant to supervise anyone 24/7. There have been times I've been saying the people that we work with in our court are adults. They are not children. Just my own thought. There are times where that some of these people that have been coming through our court left and right actually need to go to juvenile court because they're just not getting it.
Are you saying because they're childish, because they're
They're
just
challenges, and
immature?
we work with them as much as possible. And then so guess what? Probation doesn't phase them, jail doesn't phase them. And you know why? Because they've been going through the system left and right, and it doesn't phase them. So
So what do you encourage them to do?
all we can do is just at the time have them deal with the case that's before them in our court, and just do the best that we can to supervise them to get them to complete satisfactorily. If not, then there's plan B. We bring them back to court, and at worst, if the court orders that their probation be revoked, that means they do their suspended jail time. Once they do that, they don't have to complete anything else. They do their jail time, they're done. And guess what?
So
In one of my cases, they'll be back.
what's the longest time that someone's been put on probation from what you
In
can
our
recall?
court,
In your
uh,
court.
in most cases, people that get placed on probation are on probation for 6 months or a year. In some cases, people are placed on probation in our court for 18 months, or in some cases, 24 months. That would probably be the max, I think, something like that.
Wow.
But it's mostly 6 months or a year. In some
Okay.
cases, 18 months.
And the majority completed in what amount of time? I mean, I think that the sooner they get it all straight out, the better, right? Than not come back to probation.
Okay. Someone can, for example, when someone's on placed on probation, they may have to pay probation fees. They may have to pay court costs. They may have to pay restitution. They may have to pay for the program that
Well,
they're
that
going
sounds
through.
expensive.
So there's a lot of money involved in certain situations, and they may have to complete other conditions. So let's say that person was placed on probation for a year, and let's say that after 6 months, that person completed all their conditions, but they stay on probation until their time period is up. And so the only thing remaining once they complete everything is just to stay out of trouble.
And how do you think they should stay out of trouble? Give us some pointers, Juan. I mean, you have seen many people, and the reason why I brought him on is so that you know the process in avoiding actually to get on probation, to get in any kind of trouble, to drink responsibly, and because of the time right now, we're in this season of parties, and New Year's is approaching just a few days from now, and so we have to learn to drink responsibly.
Mhm.
Government doesn't need your money. So, and you just mentioned all these costs, all these fees. How expensive can that be? I
Okay,
mean,
okay. Let me say this because this comes from the mouths of some probationers.
mhm,
Throughout the years, I've heard probationers say, "You know what?" And they talk about the probation system and so, or the court system. You know what? This is all about the money. And I told them this: probation's not free.
that's for
The court is
sure.
not free. We don't work as probation officers or as a judge or as a prosecutor for free. We work for a salary. for example.
Right.
So, and you know what? Some of the biggest complainers about it's all about the money are the ones that keep coming through left and right. So I
So
tell them,
I guess it
I
is
tell them
about the
this.
money. It's
I
okay
tell
to
them
give it to
this.
them.
You know what? You want to stop paying monies? Stop coming through.
Right. So stop making it about money, your
Right.
money. Government doesn't
So
need
that's
your
taking the
money.
blame. Oh no, putting the blame on the employees and not on themselves.
Yeah, like you make them drink, right?
Mm.
So is it more DUIs than it is on drugs, or is it about the same? If you know,
I
as
would
far as
think
cases.
more people. There are more people that, and I don't have any stats in front of me that come through our court, for example, that are more alcohol related than drug related. Drug related.
Well, you know, it's the holiday season, and some may say, "Oh, it's okay. One drink will do. Two drinks is fine." And then you got your buddy saying, "No, come on, have another one. You're just around the corner. You don't live far from here." Well, there's a lot of accidents that happen right around the corner, right?
Yeah. So let me say this because I mentioned this at one of the organizations that I belong to, where I represent the judge. Never in my life. And you know what? When we have court in the mornings, we get a list of in custodies with the charges that they were charged with. Never in my life have I been seeing what I'm seeing now. We never used to have women be in custodies being arrested for auto theft. Now we're getting women being charged with auto theft. That's something I've never seen throughout the years. That it's happening to more and more women are being
Wow.
charged with auto theft. Here's another thing.
Wow.
This was a man thing, not a woman thing, although it can happen. More and more women are being charged with domestic violence that I've never seen before. So that's a new thing.
Women,
that
you've
women are
had
doing
enough,
now.
right? That's because women have had enough. And when the manipulator and the person that's there to threaten them pushes them to the edge, because I'm gonna, was that song trying to lose my head? It's like a wonder sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going
Okay.
under. You know, don't try me because I'm about to lose my head. You know, don't lose your cool. Women, I can understand why sometimes they go off on it though, but it's not right because now they're in the system, right?
Okay. Well, here's another thing. It not in all cases is because a woman uh, committed domestic violence on a man. A lot of times there may be a woman committed domestic violence on another woman,
Right.
or a man
Right.
committed domestic violence
On another man. Yeah.
So it's not where
Opposite.
opposites
Right.
are
Right.
committing domestic violence on each other.
So we're just here to encourage you to stop getting in trouble. Don't do the DUI thing or the OWI, you know, walking while intoxicated. Yeah, that happens. Some people may say, well, I'm not putting anybody in danger. Actually, you're putting yourself in danger and you could be putting someone else in danger. Why is OWI illegal? I mean, walking while intoxicated, if you know.
Not walking while intoxicated, they call it public intoxication.
Public intoxication.
And just recently,
yes.
not too long ago, in the state of Indiana, it is, whereas before, well, I'll put it this way, in order to get arrested now for public intox in Indiana, the officer has to note that this person was a threat to himself or herself or something to that effect, where that wasn't the case before. So you could walk out and be intoxicated, you're walking, but if the officer feels that you're not, I guess, being a threat to yourself or a danger to yourself or anyone else, then you're not supposed to be arrested, so to speak.
Well, I think we need to encourage people to try not to get arrested, try not to get in any trouble, and seek help. There are some agencies out there that can help you. Many times, and correct me if I'm wrong, Juan, many times people seek the bottle for solutions. They say, well, you know, it helps me forget. It helps you forget, but in the next morning, guess what? We're back to the same thing. It didn't solve anything, right? And you had been mentioning this on Nuestra Comunidad in WI, and that's on how long we've been on WLTH radio, Juan?
12 years.
12 years plus. Wow, since what, October 30th, 2010. That's a long time, and we've covered so many different things. And so, one actually suggests something. How can you avoid having recurring customers, Juanito? You mentioned the boot.
Okay. Well, in addition to the boot, well, here's the thing. This is something that the system would make for an easy fix that I think system is not too keen on it. Um, for people, DWS stands for driving while suspended. You have people out there that have their license suspended for 5 years, for 10 years. Some people have had their license suspended for life.
Mm.
And guess what? A lot of these people continue to drive. And so what happens? Every time someone that drives when their license is suspended and if they get stopped, they will get another go to court, and if they get convicted, they get another conviction. Every time person's license is suspended, it adds more time to the jail, to their license suspension time. For
Mm.
some, it doesn't matter because license can be suspended for life and they're still
Wow. They
driving.
still do it.
So here's my thing: for people that are driving continuously driving with their license suspended, for people that keep driving under the influence of alcohol, drugs, or abusing their medications, for people that keep driving recklessly, they're just doing 90 in a 40, for example.
Mm.
There's a thing called the BOOT,
Mm.
a boot. Here's my easy fix on this: put a boot on these people's vehicles, and then that'll prevent them from driving. If they get another vehicle
Mm-hmm.
and do the same thing, put a
Mm-hmm.
boot on that second vehicle.
Mm.
Third time around, you know what? They go to court. If they get convicted, no probation, no boot. Whatever jail time you were to have gotten on that case that goes with that case, whether it's 60 days, 90 days, 180 days, or 1 year in Lake County jail, you just do your jail time, be done with it, no
Mm.
probation, no nothing.
Keep yourself
If
clean.
they come back, they come back.
Yeah, you do not want to come back. You do not want to get in the system. Let's drink responsibly, not just during the holidays, but any time period. I used to always say, well, they don't need my money. The popos don't need your money. The government does not need your money. I'm sure you could use your money to take care of you, your family, your bills, and whatever lifestyle you'd like to have. But in drinking and doing drugs, that is more of a death style instead of a lifestyle, if you will. And so we don't want to have a probation officer in our speed dial on our phones. I have Juan as your probation officer. It's great to see him and talk to him, but not because you're in trouble. So, what would you encourage our audience, Juanito, to do or not do to avoid being on probation?
Um, well, first of all, let me just say this here: to avoid is one thing, but if you go through the system, people are human. People make mistakes. Go through the system that one time and learn from your mistake, and don't come back. Here's the other thing. This is just my personal thing. It's a thing I call legal literacy. If we teach our students in elementary school and middle school and high school from the very beginning, everything, the good, bad, and ugly as it relates to the system, how to avoid getting into the system, and so forth from a very young age within the school system, that will make a big difference so that people will not get into the system. Unfortunately, more and more I'm reading young people are committing offenses with guns. More and more young people are taking guns in their backpack to their elementary schools.
Mm.
It's just totally crazy right now.
Well,
So
parents,
we need to use our school system. And actually, school doesn't start in school. School starts at home with
That's
mommy and
right. That's
daddy.
right.
And I just blew this down here.
That's right. Because Juan likes to talk with his hands. If you have not seen it,
So,
that's Juan's suggestion for you guys. And New Year's is up. It's around the corner. Just wishing you all a happy New Year's. We just have a few seconds left. Juan, thank you so much for coming on Real
yes.
Talk with E.V.E. and talking about some solutions and some suggestions of what to do or not to do to not get on probation and don't do any of this stuff. Do it at home. But this is not alcohol, by the way. I'm not drinking alcohol. It's actually electrolytes. That's what I'm drinking. I am not drinking that Kool-Aid. So people, let's get with the program. Juanito, thank you once again.
Yes.
Any last 30 seconds to the audience, anything you'd like to say?
So, as I said, people are human. People make mistakes, but it's about learning from your mistakes so
Right.
that you don't go through the system
right.
again, and you pass that information, knowledge, experience, whether it was good, bad, and ugly to you, to
others.
the people
Yep.
within your own family, or
Yep.
nothing else.
That's right. Let's be wise and learn from other people's mistakes. Juan, thank you so much for joining us. And I'm sure I'll be bringing you back again here on Real Talk with E.V.E. And we'll talk more on solutions. And we thank Juan for being on. And of course, thank you for joining me here every Wednesday, Lunch and Learn, and Saturdays, 12:30. So thank you for joining me here on Real Talk with E.V.E. And have a wonderful, happy new year. Be safe. Drink responsibly if you must drink. Uber your way home or ask a friend that is sober, that does not drink, to drive you. On that, thank you once again. Happy New Year. May you be prosperous. May you be healthy and wealthy. Until next time. Nos vemos. Hasta la próxima. And of course, my YouTubers, thank you for subscribing and also following me on LinkedIn and connecting with me on social media, on all the platforms. Take care.